Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole King, Dio, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So, I recently went on the Nintendo eShop and I was looking around at games. I was considering whether or not I wanted to buy Azure Striker Gunvolt 3, which does look great, but I have been a little bit swamped with new releases. So I've been like really choosy with the games I've been picking up. But I did stumble across a game that I hadn't heard of before that looked somewhat promising. Diofield Chronicle by Square Enix. And so I saw that it had a demo and I was just like, okay, after I'm done playing Live Alive for the day, I'm going to like play this demo. So like I ended up just finishing up Live Alive. Finishing playing Live Alive. I haven't finished the game yet. I ended up stopping playing Live Alive and went ahead and played this thing. And the thing about Diofield Chronicle that intrigued me by looking at the screenshots and reading the description, it's a real-time strategy game from Square Enix. I think it can be classified as a MOBA, but like they described it as real-time action, like a unique kind of strategy game, and that really intrigued me because like I love Final Fantasy stuff, and the idea of like a Final Fantasy RTS was really appealing to me. It's one of those things that I never thought would. It's one of those things like the instant I heard that, I was like, okay, I have to check this out. Like, I think this might be something great. And I played the demo and realized immediately, no, it's not great. It's low budget as fuck. It's choppy. The story's not good. It has some good cinematics, but other than that, I think the game is an overall disappointment. Again, this is only going by the demo, but I doubt the actual core experience is much better. So like it kind of dawned on me while I was playing this is that although like the idea of a Final Fantasy strategy game is appealing, Square Enix does not have the capacity to do it. But the people who do have a capacity to do it, who are kind of doing it already, is Nintendo with the Fire Emblem games. Like Fire Emblem Three Houses and Fire Emblem Three Hopes are the best strategy games we've gotten in the past several years. And what's more, I could see from Diofield Chronicle that they were aping off of Three Houses in a lot of ways with like a monastery like section and just like the general feel of it and stuff like that. Like it felt like a lot that Square Enix was playing copycat when it comes to Nintendo. And I think it's safe to say that Square Enix, when it comes to their lower budget games, cannot compete with Nintendo when it comes to like a niche they've kind of already established, right? Like when it comes to like these strategy games, like I don't think Tactics Ogre is going to going to be bigger than Fire Emblem. I don't think Final Fantasy Tactics can make a recovery and be bigger than Fire Emblem. Like how much did the best-selling Final Fantasy Tactics game sell? Alexa, how much did Final Fantasy Tactics sell?
Recently on Amazon, the price for Final Fantasy Tactics ranged from $10 up to $260. The top result is Final Fantasy Tactics, The War of the Lions. Sony PSP is $49.99.
That's not what I asked Alexa, but okay. Surely none of them have outsold like Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is like I think at 3 million units sold now, like 2 or 3 million. I don't think Final Fantasy Tactics ever sold that much, but and if it has, it wouldn't sell it that much now. You know, like I think we are in a situation where we can reasonably say that Nintendo is beginning to overtake Square Enix when it comes to like the core thing that makes them popular, and that is the RPG games. Like a big appeal of Final Fantasy is that like, oh, the attractive characters. Fire Emblem is doing that better. Right, like how many Final Fantasy characters are on my wall? None. But here's Edelgard, right there, apparently like scaring people into thinking I'm a fascist or whatever. But yeah, I have Edelgard on my on my wall. No Final Fantasy characters. Okay. Oh, actually, I think Cloud might be on. No, he's not. Okay. I this is a game that I thought might be appealing to me. I don't know much about Diofield Chronicles. I don't know about who made it, like who at Square Enix made it. I don't know if it's like a budget game or it's supposed to be a major release. I know they're releasing it at full price, which is laughable considering the the quality of the game. But like, this is a game that will not be able to compete with Three Houses. Like, I don't care if it's technically a different genre. When it comes to like the game itself, when it comes to the structure, when it comes to the plot, when it comes to the cutscenes, the animations, the general gameplay, like everything is objectively superior to what Nintendo is doing at the same value with other titles, right? Most specifically Fire Emblem, but I think this also extends to other series like Xenoblade and things like that. Like, I do think Nintendo's smaller JRPGs are bigger than Square Enix's smaller JRPGs. And now we're kind of in this weird position where like Square Enix, it has to is like botching their big IPs while Nintendo is bigger than ever. So this is just another example of what I've been talking about, is just like most of the major Square Enix games that are coming out are unbelievably terrible. I cannot believe how boring this game is. Like, in spite of like all the positive things I could say about it. Again, like, I did like the idea of having like an action strategy game from with these Final Fantasy elements. I loved the idea, but like upon actually playing it, it became abundantly clear to me that I would not be interested in buying the game. It was disappointing. It was disheartening. But what's more, I can't imagine anyone else would play this shit and come away like feeling differently than I do. Like, who in the world is gonna buy into this stuff? Like, again, if you're looking for like a Fire Emblem like game, like I would recommend Valkyria Chronicles over this. I'd recommend Triangle Strategy over this. Like, Tactics Ogre is coming out in November. That looks, well, it's a remake, so it should be good, but we'll see. There are a lot of games coming out that are along the same lines as this, right? The same development philosophies, the same general idea that I think would be a lot more appealing to the audience. This is a problem when it comes to Switch gaming, right? Is that like, I think third-party developers used to be able to throw scraps on Nintendo Switch and like it would sell, but now I'm so overloaded with shit that I want to play through. Like, I'm still going through Live Alive, I'm still going through Ys 9. Like, I gotta go back to my 3DS and play Dragon Quest V. Like, I'm so overloaded with games that I absolutely need to finish that I would never even consider buying a game like this. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, Azure Striker Gunvolt 3, a demo that actually impressed me significantly more. I've gone on record several times that I think Azure Striker Gunvolt is actually better than the Mega Man Zero series that spawned it. I love Azure Striker Gunvolt. I love NT Creates in general, but like, again, I have so many games that have like underwhelmed me lately. I've been so hesitant to pull the trigger, like just by virtue of me like having other things on my mind. Like, I'm going to see a mechanic today. Like, I'm not thinking about video games. I'm thinking about like getting my car fixed. So like, again, Diofield Chronicles has no place in my library. It has no place in my mind, and it's a game that should have been good. Like, there should have been something that like I at least put on my wish list, something that I would play like when I when I got around to it, when I got through all these other games, like something to go on to the wish list, right? Something to like maybe come back to at a later date. But no, now, so considering I've played it, like no, this is not something I want. This isn't something I would recommend. Square Enix really needs to really needs to step up their game, because the shit I've been playing from them that's not like Octopath related. I think like the term for those games is Team Asano. I think Bravely Default 2 wasn't great. I'm sure I've heard the World Ends With You sequel wasn't great. Not that I like the original either. Kingdom Hearts 3 wasn't great. Final Fantasy 16 looks great. There are a number of red flags concerning Dragon Quest 12. Not the least of which is the unfortunate passing of Mr. Sugiyama, hashtag our guy. The most based and red-pilled man in Japan, apparently. The only developer I know of who talks shit about the LGBT community. you know, without like Sugiyama's music, or at least him like overseeing the production of the music, it's possible that we might not have that Dragon Quest spark. If they change the gameplay, it might not have that Dragon Quest spark. If it's PlayStation exclusive, I will never ever buy it. Like there's a very real possibility that like there might be like something wrong with Dragon Quest 12. There's a very real possibility there. Well, actually, we know Final Fantasy 16 is not going to be successful. Like Final Fantasy 14 is going to go downhill eventually. Not that I've ever played it, but like I really need to get around to doing that. Like maybe during Christmas when I have free time, I'll get a subscription or try a free trial of Final Fantasy 14 because I am curious what it's like. I've never played an MMO before, but that does sound appealing. I do want to try it, but I haven't gotten around to that. So yeah, maybe one of these days. Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 players are dropping off, I'm sure already. Like what exactly am I looking forward to from Square Enix other than Octopath Traveler 2? Octopath Traveler 1 was one of my favorite games of 2018, if not my favorite. I don't remember what I put as game of the year that year. It was probably that or Octopath expansion. 2018 was a pretty bad year for Switch, honestly. But I I loved Octopath. It was spectacular. So seeing them put out a sequel so soon after Triangle Strategy, which I have not thoroughly gone through yet, very very exciting news. I'm very hyped for that. But Square Enix used to put out high quality RPGs near constantly. Not only just with like Final Fantasy, but with like spin-off series. They used to produce like stuff like Xenogears. They used to produce like the Mana games, Chrono Trigger, Live Alive, which I'm playing through the first time. Like again, there are good things going on at Square Enix, which makes these outlier games, like the games that I try that I think I might enjoy, like that are just awful, just all the more striking is just like how exactly do these kind of games get made? I really I really have no idea. But it does strike me that Square Enix seems to be getting desperate. They're throwing like everything at the wall. They seem to be chasing trends. They're doing whatever it takes to stay afloat. I do think this is going to be the next major Japanese company to kind of go the way of Konami and just kind of fuck off. And I am very much looking forward to that. I would like the real talent to be acquired by Nintendo. Like just hire the Team Asano guys. Get the Octopath guys. Acquire the Final Fantasy IP. Boom. Final Fantasy 17 is just Final Fantasy 6-2 with like sprite work and everything, with the classic sprite work and everything. Like a true 2D HD Final Fantasy game, which doesn't sell nearly as much, but has a much more dedicated cult following and actually appeals to the audience. You know what I mean? And like is cheaper to produce and actually has like higher returns. I think that's completely doable. Dragon Quest, I think, is in a better position because Dragon Quest 11 was fine, other than being a little bit woke, like trying to normalize a homosexual character. Well, I mean, supposedly homosexual character. Reminder: there's no evidence that Sylvando is literally homosexual, right? Like, in fact, the game makes it abundantly clear that he's into Puff Puff, which of course is like, fucking boobies. So I think. I don't know, like there is like a real debate to be had that Sylvando is actually just extremely flamboyant and not actually gay. So, so like supposedly that's true. Now that's not the impression I get playing the game, but like I don't know, that is like a very real. That's going to be like my angle going forward, so I can like continue talking about how much I like Dragon Quest 11 without coming off like I'm enabling Sylvando and his nonsense. I don't know. I actually like Sylvando, but like I really don't like the implication that he's like a raging homosexual. But yeah, other than that, like Dragon Quest 11 was fine. All right, like I really enjoyed Dragon Quest 11. Like it was a better version of 8 essentially. Which is probably the least favorite game in the series I've played so far. Oh actually yeah, I just like 2 more. I just like 2 so much I didn't even finish it. I I do think a lot of these major projects are going to go under. I think there's going to be a lot more problems when it comes to these things. I think Square Enix has alienated like all of their core fans. I don't think anyone from the Super Nintendo days are left. I think they're basically coasting by on their reputation, and that's been like shattering every year with every major announcement. Like it feels like they are the developer to shit on at this point, and this is a good example of that. Like this completely random game from them like spawned me like bitching about them for 15 minutes. Like that's not something that happens unless you've had like a lot of bad experiences with this company.